everybody, today I'm starting a new segmented bowl project. I got this piece of Bubinga. I have no clue if that's how you pronounce it or not, but it was on sale at Woodcraft, so I picked that up and have been kind of staring at it because didn't really know what to do, but I think I came up with a cool, almost like a star flower pattern I drew up on the computer. So this is going to be like the main part of the bowl, and then the pattern is going to be with this leftover Purpleheart I've got. And then I might do some kind of dark rim, maybe some Wenge. So we'll go ahead and start making our segments for our ring. I'm going to start with the thickest piece. This is the 1.5 inch one. To make a 21 segment bowl, the math comes out to be an angle of 8.57 degrees. So we've got 8.5 and just a hair over it, so this isn't going to be the most exact measurement here, so hopefully this turns out. But we'll go ahead and cut these. We're doing just under 1.5 inches for our first ring, and that should give us an inside diameter of about 6.5 to 7 inches, and our outside diameter will be about 9.75 inches. So we'll go ahead and get our first 21 segments cut, and then we'll move on to our next strips. So I got all the segments for the first 2 rings cut, and I went and clamped them together. I haven't glued them yet, I just wanted to see about the size they were going to be, which is pretty much what I was looking for. So these are the 2 rings that are going to be the straight Bubinga. And then now we're going to start the rings with the patterns in it. So the first ring we're going to do is going to have 7 Purpleheart segments and 14 Bubinga segments, and then the next 2 will be 14 of Purpleheart and 7 of the Bubinga, and then the next one will be the same as the first one we did, which will be 7 Purpleheart and 14 of the Bubinga, and then whatever we decide to do for a rim. So I'm gonna go ahead and start adding in the Purpleheart segments, and we'll get those rings going too. So we have what's going to be the upper ring of our bowl with the pattern. We're going to just lightly sand each side of each segment and then start gluing them together. Alright, so there's our first ring glued up. I'm gonna go ahead and glue up the other, looks like we got 6 or 7 more rings to glue up, and then probably start working on the rim. All my rings have cured, and I've gone ahead and taken the clamps off all of them, and then I went ahead and ran them all through the planer. I didn't show that part because it's kind of boring and takes forever, but all of these are smooth now, so we can go ahead and start gluing them up. This one I actually ended up doing on the disc sander on the lathe just because it was so small. I wasn't sure if it would actually fit in the planer or not. So we're going to go ahead and start with that one, which is our Wenge rim. So I'm gonna let this first ring dry for about 30 minutes and I'll take this off, put on my next one, and then I'll just keep repeating that process, letting about 30 minutes go by each glue up, and then it'll sit overnight. I just finished adding the final ring to our glue up here. So I'll go ahead and put the top on and get this all clamped down. To make our bowl base, we're gonna go ahead and use this piece that we saved before we ran the strips down on the table saw. So to do this, we're gonna find the center of this square. Then we'll draw out a circle with the compass. Then we'll go ahead and cut this down on the bandsaw and chuck it up on the lathe. The glue has been drying on this bowl for about 2 days now, so we'll go ahead and get it out of our clamp here and go get it chucked up on the lathe and see what kind of shape we can make. I just finished turning and sanding the bowl. So now what I'm gonna do is take a damp cloth with some isopropyl alcohol just to get all the fine sanding dust out. And we don't want this to be like super wet, we just want it damp because we don't want to mess with the glue or anything in any of our joints. So we'll just give this a quick wipe down. Then we'll do the same on the outside. Then we'll let that dry real quick and we'll go ahead and put our sanding sealer on. Now that that's dry, I'm going to put 2 coats of sanding sealer on. And we'll let that dry really good, then we'll wet sand it down, and then we'll put 1 more coat of sanding sealer on, and then we can move on to our final finish. So now we'll go ahead and wet sand this bowl with some 320 grit and then 600 grit. And basically wet sanding this is to get out any little microscopic cracks or anything that was in our sanding sealer. And then it'll be nice and smooth when we put our final coat of sanding sealer on. And we'll have a nice smooth finish at the end. So we'll go ahead and dry all the water from the wet sanding real quick, and then we'll throw 1 last coat of sanding sealer on. Our sanding sealer is dried, so we're going to go ahead and put our final finish on. I'm going to be using the General Finishes wood bowl finish. This is what I use on most of my bowls. It's a nice, pretty much like an epoxy, and it gives a really nice, shiny, durable, food safe finish. So that's gonna dry overnight, and then I'll flip the bowl over and burn my name and what kind of wood it is into the logo. Put a coat on the bottom, and then I'll probably do 1 more coat of this, sand it a little, and then we'll do 1 final coat, and then the bowl will be finished.